What an absolutely phenomenal day. I hope you're having a good one because I know I definitely am. I'm very excited to make this video. And just to let you know what all the hubbub's about, a little bit ago, I requested out some money from my prop trading firm. I was approved for $18,000. Now for me, and I know for many of us, that's big money. So actually I should probably very quickly say, I hope this doesn't come off as bragging or anything like that. I know when you're talking about money and making money, there's strange feelings, but here's my thoughts on the whole thing. When you're a trader, when you do this stuff day in and day out, your emotions rip higher, they drop, the money goes up, it goes down. Sometimes it can feel very isolating. Sometimes you feel like you're on the top of the world. Other times you feel like you're underneath the world. So because of that, there's been kind of this interesting retail movement where there's a lot of people within the trading, finance, content creation space who are being a lot more transparent about everything that goes on day to day. And I find that to be very commendable. So I want to do the same. When it comes to the world of retail trading, I personally think the more transparency, the better. So my point in doing all this is obviously not just sharing a highlight of what's going on. Yes, I'm very proud of it, but I want to explain what is prop trading. I kind of want to show you proof that yes, I did get this money, because obviously when it comes to the internet, there's a lot of suspect people doing suspect things just to sound better or cooler or more intelligent or more fortunate than they actually are. And then at the end, and I hope this is the most useful, I want to give some tips and tricks of how I at least got to this level of success. Now, obviously I'll be explaining how I'm not at the peak. Obviously you could go much more. So I want to lay out a little bit of a game plan of how I got here and my plan to hit new heights. I hope that this is a two-way street. I hope that you find this to be helpful. I hope you can learn from me. I hope I can learn from you. So I just want to lay that all out there because I think it's much more of a thing where if we work as a community, the chances of our success is higher. So I hope that makes sense. But anyway, with all that being said, let's rock. So the very first and most important question is, how did I do it? Well, I choose to use Apex Trader Funding. This is the prop firm that I use. Now, for those of you who maybe kind of know what this is, or maybe you don't know what it is at all, the way this sim to funded, that's probably a term you're going to hear quite often. This whole world works is basically if you take a test and pass it, as in if you trade well enough on a simulated paper trading, not real trading, then you pass the test and then they fund an account for you. Now, there's a lot of nuances to this, of the rules of how to pass and what counts as passing, what doesn't count as passing, how do you fail the test, all that stuff. So I highly recommend that you read the FAQ, dive into that. If there's demand for it, let me know in a comment below. I'm more than willing to take the time and use my resources to explain certain things, or if you want videos on what I think is the best way to pass the test, the best way to trade, more than happy to it. I'm just trying to give you like the overall of what this is. Prop trading is saying, hey, if you do well enough on some form of a test, generally not with real money at all, then they'll actually fund you. So that's the whole point of this. So I use ATF.com, Apex Trader Funding. I sign on, I take the test, I pass the test, and I go from an eval account to a PA account, a performance account. And then from there, if you trade well enough on those, you actually can make real money. They commonly run deals, and I'll put the link in the description. That's not really but the point of this. I just want to let you know what I use to kind of set this up. Now, when I come to ATF, I use Rhythmic. So Rhythmic is one of your options. The other option is Tradevate. Now you might be thinking, why do I use Rhythmic? The answer is twofold. I think it's a little bit cheaper. So if I can save myself a little bit of money, I'm going to. And then reason number two is I'm familiar with NinjaTrader, which is the brokerage that Rhythmic is associated with. So it was just a little bit of a familiarity thing. Now, you could also go for different account sizes. Obviously, different account sizes require you passing a different test. I use all 50K accounts just because I like the ratios the best. In terms of how many contracts you can trade versus the profit goal versus the trailing threshold, the daily drawdown, all that stuff, I like the 50K ratios the best. That is the common sentiment amongst the prop trading world, especially with ATF, but please feel free to use whichever one you like best. I just really honed in on this 50K one. So let me just explain it using these numbers, but obviously please understand it would be different based on the account. So I sign up for the 50K account. It's usually $167. Right now, they're running a 90% off deal, which means it's $16, $17. Once again, that is to take the test. When I sign up with the test, basically, I need to hit $3,000 worth of paper profits before hitting a 2.5K trailing threshold. If you do that, if you hit 3K profits without having a 2.5K trailing threshold drawdown, you pass the test. Great. Then from there, it goes from the eval account to a PA account. And then with the PA account, you can keep trading that. And of course, there's rules of how many days you have to trade, this, that, the other thing. That's what I was alluding to before. Make sure you check out the FAQ. But anyway, my point is if you do well enough, you can actually request money out. In fact, you're going to be in a profit sharing system with ATF. So the first $25,000 of profits is 100% yours. Then after that, it's a 90-10 split with the company where you keep 90%. That is per account. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because as an individual, you can have up to 20 accounts. So obviously by the time you do that math, it's going to be quite serious. So anyway, I started this a while ago, and sometimes I do degenerate YOLO things. Other times I was a little bit more consistent, sticking to a plan. And over the past payout periods, like I had some success, some failure. I just really couldn't find my own footing, if that makes sense. Well, over the past 2 payout periods, I thought, okay, I know what to do. I've seen these like little spurts of success, and it all related to me having a clear, consistent kind of, instead of going for a home run or something like that, just a bunch of singles that add up over a series of days. And that's exactly how I was able to get this payout. Now, yes, I do have 20 PA accounts. And if you do the math on that, you're able to take out 2,000 from each one, or at least I was where I am in the process. The max I could withdraw is 2,000 from each one, but only 9 of my accounts were eligible. And that's how I'm getting the 18 grand. 9 different accounts. I requested 2K out, obviously 9 times 2,000. That's the 18,000 right there. So with that in mind, that's a little bit of an intro to prop trading, more specifically ATF. And this is what I use. I use Rhythmic, hook it up to NinjaTrader. Right now, they're running a pretty crazy deal. But just to illustrate like what this actually means, think about that. So let's say it takes you a little bit to pass the test. Let's say per PA account or something like that, you're in for about $200. But if you can request out 2,000, that's a 10x return. So why is this even getting traction? Why do people like this to begin with? Well, the answer is just like anything in trading in the world of markets and finance, it's risk reward. If you're putting up for risk about whatever, like I said, just this random hypothetical 200, but you can get that return of 2,000, and then you could keep going and more and more and more and continue to snowball. That's what it is people are kind of getting a little bit of skin in the game, but not as much as risking your own full entire account. So I think that's the attractive thing. At least that's the attractive thing to me. And obviously, as soon as you have a little bit of success, like many things in this world, but specifically trading, when you find a bit of success, it becomes very, very addictive. So with all that being said, I just kind of want to not be that guy on the internet who's like lying about stuff. So I figure I'll show you the actual evidence of it. So right here, date 5/20, all the way down, you can see that I roughly have 9 highlighted. These are the 9 I just requested, and you can see approved. It just keeps going. There's 9 of them. And with that, I know some people are going to be in the comments saying, hey man, this is not real. You edited the CSS, whatever. Well, you can see at the website right here, my email from ATF from the website, there's 9 of these of just congrats. Here's your 2 grand, your 2 grand, your 2 grand. And then here's the thing that I don't think many people know, but if you go to ATF and you scroll all the way down, under resources, you're going to find a thing called payouts. Now, obviously, depending on the payouts, you're going to find me differently. But if you come, I think at this point, I'm on page 2. So a lot of payouts have been paid, but these are all the people who recently got paid out. Please understand, based on the time that you might be looking this up yourself, the pages are going to keep adding up. So it might not be the same page, but I believe if I search my name right here, Matthew, New Jersey, USA, 2,000. And now you're probably thinking, but Matt, you just said 18,000. You said you had 9. I'm seeing 1. What's the deal? Well, the answer to that is they approved 8 very quickly, and then maybe one of them had to be reviewed, and then that one got approved later, and that's this one right here. So you have this one standalone one, and then if you go all the way down and go to the whole next page, once again, the page number itself is probably going to change. You're going to find my other 8 right here. There's 8 of those, 2K each. So basically 16K on this page, 2K on the other page. There's the email. Here's the proof of all this, hopping back and forth. I hope that you're believing it. I don't know what else I could possibly do more than this, besides I'm literally actively reloading the pages, showing you what's going on. So I hope you understand that, yes, you can make actual money in this. And it's on that note that I want to share a couple of things. Now, Is this the height of what you can do? No. In fact, if you look on the interwebs, if you look on social media, there's other people who are doing not just a little bit better than I am, far better than I am. Like I said, you could have up to 20 accounts, which means per payout period, which you could do twice a month, they could be getting 40K. They could do 40K twice a month, as in 80K for a fully loaded account. This was one payout for me where I did not even half of them. I did slightly less than half. I did 18. So the ceiling of where this can go is much, much higher than where I'm currently at, and that is 100% my target. And it's on that note that I want to share a couple tips and tricks of how I pulled this off and my plan for going even better. Now, I lightly alluded to this before, but when I had these massive swings up and down, it was just because I was, we all get there. Sometimes you go on tilt, sometimes you're trading too big of size, sometimes you're over trading. All the classics, if you crack open a trading psychology book, if there's the rules that you shouldn't be breaking, I was breaking all of those. And obviously when it starts to go south, it goes south really, really quickly. The phenomena snowball effect, and we all go on tilt, and it's horrible. So because I was doing that so many times and I was looking at my credit card bill stacking up, being like, dude, I'm paying a lot for these tests. Like, you got to be a little bit more serious. This is exactly how I started to find success. I do 1 or 2 contracts at most. I never, ever let myself do more, because with more leverage, there's just more of a chance of it going wrong. And think about it this way. Yes, you could be thinking, but yeah, there's more chance of it going right too. But please understand, with this, one bad trade, you could lose the account. Well, one good trade, your account's just a little bit higher. So unless you think you're gonna trade with perfection, which none of us are, it's silly to think that way. Think much more about what your potential downside is than your potential upside. When I started to rewire my brain and think much more of, I'm gonna focus on keeping the losses reasonable, the profits took care of themselves. I think that's an interesting way to look at it. I hope that helps some of you. But anyway, I trade the NASDAQ. I like the NASDAQ NQ. Sometimes I'll trade the S&P 500. Now, for those of you who are like, well, the NASDAQ, NQ, S&P 500, and ES, please understand this is trading on the futures market. The way there's stocks, options, crypto, Forex, this is futures trading. So yes, the S&P 500, SPX, they have the ETF, SPY. Well, they have the equivalent on the futures market, which is the ES contract. Same thing with the NASDAQ. Technically, the NASDAQ, the actual index is NDX. The ETF that tracks it is QQQ. And then on the futures market, the ticker, or really it's technically the futures contract, is NQ. Now, if that sounds wild to you and you're like, dude, I just need to learn more about futures, I made that video. I'll make sure it's linked in the description below just so you can get a better understanding of what it is. But yes, similar to options, futures are very leveraged. Now, they're not contracts that have like Greeks and all that, but I'm just saying they're a very, very leveraged asset. So a small move can make you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. So anyway, I don't trade many. I trade 1 or 2 at most, and I also do 1 or 2 trades at most. My big issue was trading too much size, because as you saw a little bit ago, on a 50K account, they let you trade up to 10 contracts. And it's fun to do it if you're on the right side of the trade, but if you're on the wrong side, it goes bad faster than Usain Bolt in the Olympics at his prime, man. So that was one thing I had to realize. I was like, okay, let's cut it down. I try to stick to 1 contract, but sometimes I'll go up to 2, never really go above 2. The other thing I noticed, I was way better in the morning than in the afternoon. And I think it has something to do with, in the morning, I would wake up, I would look at everything going on, and I would come up with some sort of plan of like what I wanted to do. And then that trade would work. And then later on, when I was sitting there at a boredom or a chasing, it would inevitably go wrong. So what I like to do is basically trade once in the morning, and I don't do it immediately at market open at 9:30 a.m. ET. I wait a little bit. The first 15, 20, 30 minutes, see if I can understand some sort of trend. I want to trade with the trend, but I never tried to go long at the intraday high or short at the intraday low. If you're buying it at an extreme, yeah, sometimes it's going to work for you. Percentage-wise, if you're going for a little bit of a scalp, it might work for you a lot. But once again, this is a game of, if you're trading like that, you have to be perfect, because the first time you're wrong, you can lose the account. So that's why I like to keep things a little bit more in control. So basically, I like to trade NQ, but sometimes I'll look at ES, once again, the NASDAQ versus the S&P 500. I try to stick to 1 or 2 contracts. I try to do 1 trade a day early in the morning, trading with the trend. And in terms of what type of money I go for, well, if you're going in a payment period, which is 10 trading days, I like to actually take it slow. I know some people are going for crazy numbers, $500, $600, $700, $800. I like to go somewhere between $200 and $300, slow and steady. I'd rather be much more confident, calm, cool, collected in my trading methodology and system rather than being like, oh, I have to get X amount of dollars today. I think the slow and steady process and really mental framework for this is the best way to succeed. Now, with that being said, this is the thoughts and the opinion of a person who has not hit those heights. I took out 18K. The theoretical max per payment period is 40K. And then really some people out there, they do that multiple times over and over and over. So yes, 100% I have rooms for growth. And with that in mind, if you have thoughts and opinions of how you've treated, I would love to hear from you. Let me know in a comment below of like, okay, I did that, but then I tried it XYZ. I am more than happy to get feedback from all of you because I want to hit that pinnacle and I want to share it with everyone else because I think this entire setup and the potential of money that can be made is absurd. So I want more people to, yes, to share, to talk, and really for all of us to elevate each other. But with that being said, my thoughts of how to bring this to the next level is probably getting to a point where I have better downside management because right now my accuracy is absurdly high. And when you have an absurdly high accuracy, that's probably because you're having too much of a leash in terms of your losses. So because of that, and I don't like that, how big that can be, I kind of, in a weird way, my goal isn't to lower my accuracy, but it will be a byproduct. I kind of just want to set up more reasonable risk to reward ratios instead of taking like maybe a 4 or a 3 to 1 risk to reward, maybe close it in on 2 to 1, but maybe trade that a little bit more or something like that. Obviously, as I figure it out, as I hone in on it, I hope you guys really join me on this particular journey. But I just wanted to share the exciting news. I want to share what in the world this is, proof that I actually did it, and give you some tips and tricks. But I'm telling you, slow and steady consistency, just little singles over and over again. And I know that's easy to say and be like, yeah, why would not everyone do that? I don't know, something about it. When you're there, if you're a D-Gen like me, the old D-Gen, all of a sudden you're like, oh, I think this is a great setup based on absolutely nothing. And you try to rip it. And unfortunately that works a lot, but it just takes that one time to completely kneecap you. So slow and steady will win the race. I 100% believe that. But if you have any other thoughts, tips, tricks, opinions, please let me know in a comment below. And then for those of you who are like, oh, I want to try this out, I'll make sure the link's there. They're always running big percentage off deals. So if you want to try this out yourself, the link is in the description below. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you watching the video. And I hope in the next payout period, I can make another video like this. And I hope the numbers even higher. But here's to the start of a very new and exciting journey. I appreciate your time. I'll catch you in the next one.
Have a beautiful day.